Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimmirandhasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namini. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarini. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I welcome all the devotees for today's session. Today we will discuss from the Srimad Bhagavatam's third canto, fifth chapter, few shlokas, which are prayers offered by different devatas to Lord Mahavishnu. And in these prayers, we find that the devatas are describing the glories of taking shelter of Lord Krishna's lotus feet. Now, what is the significance of taking shelter of the Lord's lotus feet? Now we see that several shlokas and pastimes in Srimad Bhagavatam and many other great scriptures are constantly emphasizing on this principle of surrender to the lotus feet of the Lord, taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. What does it mean? Even in Sri Chaitanya Sikshashtakam, which is considered the essence of all scriptures, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not author so many books, but he has given the essence of all scriptures in the form of just 8 shlokas of Sikshashtakam. Even in that Sikshashtakam, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is speaking about taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. Ayi nanda tanuja kinkaram patitam mam vishame bhavam bhatav. Kripaya tava pada pankaj sthita dhuli sadrisham vichintaya. Let me take shelter of the dust from the lotus feet of your lordship, O Lord. He is asking like this. I want to be situated as a dust particle at the lotus feet of the Lord. So what does it mean to take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet? Now let us try to explore. In short, taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet basically means practicing bhakti yoga, performing pure, unmotivated devotional service unto the Lord, and just imbibing the spirit of devotion and dedication and service attitude as exemplified by acharyas. That is taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. It's not that you always physically just sit at his feet or just hold on to his feet or fall at his feet or under his feet or become a dust particle at his lotus feet. It's not the literal thing only. Somebody may be sitting always next to the feet of the Lord, but they may not be doing service. They may not be listening to the instructions. Basically, taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord is humbling ourselves. We need, because the feet are the lowest part of someone's body. When you say that I am at your feet, I want to take your shelter of your lotus feet, you are basically humbling yourself, considering yourself low and not as significant as the other person. That shows your service attitude, your dedication, your respect, your reverence for that person. And that also shows that you are keeping aside your false ego and all kinds of material external conceptions, and just be willing to be humble in front of the other person. So that is taking shelter of the lotus feet. But there is much more to it. What is the significance of imbibing this spirit, this humble spirit? Basically taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord shows that we are humble in front of Him. Now let us learn from the shlokas, which are prayers of the Devatas to Lord Mahavishnu. Today, in the next 1 hour, we'll be discussing 5 shlokas, 5 beautiful shlokas. And in these 5 shlokas, we learn 6 effects of taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. Let's begin with this first one. Sri Ram, you want to recite? Namamate Deva Padaravindam
नमामते देवपदारविन्दम्
Prapannatapopashamatapatram
प्रपन्नतापोपशमातपत्रम्
Tanmulaketa Yatayonjasoru
यन्मूलकेतायतयो निजशोरु
Samsara Dukkham Bahiritshipanti.
संसारदुःखं बहिरुत्क्षिपन्ति.
One more recitation. Tulsi, you can recite. Namamate Deva Padaravindam
नमामते देवपदारविन्दम्
Prapannatapopashamatapatram
प्रपन्नतापोपशमातपत्रम्
Yanmulaketa Yatayonjasoru
यन्मूलकेतायतयोञ्जसोरु
Samsara Dukkham Bahiritshipanti.
संसारदुःखं बहिरुत्क्षिपन्ति.
Namamate Deva Padaravindam. Namama. Let me offer my obeisances. Unto you, O Deva, specifically unto your Padaravindam. Aravindam is lotus, Pada means feet. Let me specifically offer obeisances unto your divine lotus feet. Who is saying this to whom? Right in the beginning of the creation, the Supreme Lord breathed, means Mahavishnu breathed out, and millions of universes came out of his bodily pores. But the universe did not just manifest at once. First, the universe came out of the Lord's body in the form of a small seed, Pradhana. With the passage of time, that Pradhana got transformed into Mahatattva. And that Mahatattva became Ahankar. How do they look like at that stage? Even I don't know. Don't even ask me. And so basically, it's unfolded slowly, step by step, gradually. The universe is getting unfolded. This Pradhana became Mahatattva, Mahatattva became Ahankara, Ahankara gives rise to 23 elements. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, ego. There are so many material elements. So these elements have their presiding deities, the Devatas, the controlling deities of these elements. They offered prayers to Lord Vishnu. Why they offered prayers? Basically, they wanted Lord Vishnu to send his energy so that they can combine together, they can get amalgamated together to form the universe. It's like initially when you are making some food item, all the ingredients of the food item, the sabji, are separately cut, and you take little spices and you take the vegetable, you cut it into small pieces. All the ingredients for the creation of a curry, vegetable, is ready. But the cook has to use his energy, use his skill to process them at certain temperature and then make the sabji ready. Similarly, all the ingredients for the universal creation like earth, water, fire, air, ether were ready. They were created first. Now, without the Lord's glance, without the Lord's intervention, these material elements like earth, water, fire, air, ether cannot combine with each other on their own to manifest the universe, or manifest different bodies within the universe, or manifest different planets within the universe. So the Lord has to do it. Just as the ingredients for a food item will not mix with each other on their own without a cook's actually mixing them. Similarly, the ingredients for material universe, formation of material universe, cannot mix on their own without the Lord intervening there. So all these elements, the presiding deities of these elements, the presiding deity of earth, presiding deity of water, controlling devata of fire, air, ether, all of them started offering prayers to Mahavishnu. Oh Lord, you can please send your energy so that we can mix with each other, combine with each other, so that we can form the universe. That's the context. We are not going to elaborate on this context more. So now the actual class begins. We are entering the prayers. So these people are offering this prayer. Namamate Devapadarvindam. O Lord, we offer our prayers to you. We offer our obeisances unto your lotus feet. What is the effect of offering obeisances to or taking shelter of the Lord's lotus feet? Second line says, Prapannatapopashamata patram. Prapanna means one who surrenders, one who takes shelter. If you take shelter of the Lord's lotus feet, you know what is the effect? Tapa, upashama, atapatram. Tapa means miseries. There are three tapas, tapatrayas, we say. Adhyatmika, Adi Bhautika, Adi Daivika Kleshas. There are three types of miseries, tapas. First is Adhyatmika, means miseries caused by body and mind. Then second is Adi Bhautika, miseries, difficulties caused by other living entities. And then third is Adi Daivika, miseries caused by natural disturbances. Like that, an average person in this material world undergoes different types of tapas, difficulties. There is birth, death, old age, disease, janma, mrityu, jara, vyadhi. They are definitely tapas. They are definitely difficulties. Tapa. Tapa, upashama. Upashama means mitigation. So you have some pain. The relief for that pain is called upashama. Tapa is pain. Tapa, upashama means relief to that pain. So if you take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, Padaravindam Prapanna, then Tapa Upashama, the Lord will relieve you from that pain. How? An example is given. Atapatram. Atapatram means an umbrella. So when it's raining very heavily, you need to take an umbrella to protect yourself, right? So just as umbrella protects you from rain, the shelter of the Lord's lotus feet will protect you from the rain of material miseries, difficulties, right? So umbrella protects you from rains. Similarly, the shelter of the Lord's lotus feet will protect you from all kinds of material miseries. They exist, but they don't affect you. Just like rain exists, but when you have umbrella, rain will not make you wet. Similarly, the difficulties in this material world exist, but when you take shelter of the Lord's lotus feet, they will not affect you. Right? So, Yanmulaketa Yatayonjasoru. If you take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, the root of the lotus feet of the Lord, Anjasa Uru. Anjasa means very easily. Uru samsara dukkham. Samsara means this material existence. Dukkha means difficulties. Here, two words are used, Tapa and Dukkha. Both are same. Both are difficulties, both are miseries. So when you take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, the fears, difficulties of material existence, Bahirutshipanti, they are like thrown away, they are defeated. Here Upashama word is used, here Bahirutshipanti is used. Bahirutshipanti means you are throwing them away. Upashama means you are getting relieved by it, right? So this one shloka is repeatedly giving us this message that when you take shelter of Krishna's divine lotus feet, the shelter of Krishna's lotus feet will relieve you from all miseries. Miseries continue to exist, whether we are devotees or not, whether we take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet or not. Miseries in this world will exist because that is the nature of this world. Dukkhalayam ashashvatam. But one who takes shelter of the Lord's lotus feet will be relieved from those miseries, will be unaffected by those miseries because they act like umbrella. Lord's lotus feet act like umbrella that protect you from miseries. Therefore, the first effect of taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet is that vanquishing miseries. The shelter of Krishna's lotus feet will vanquish miseries. That's the first effect. We discussed only one effect so far. We have five more to discuss. So is it clear? Let's recite this shloka once again. Anyone here? Or again, Sri Ram. Namamate Devapadarvindam
Namamate Devapadaravindam
Prapannatapopashamatapatram
Prapannatapopashamatapatram
Yanmulaketa Yatayonjasoru
Yanmulaketa Yatayo Nishoru
Samsara Dukkham Bahirutkshipanti.
Samsara Dukkam Bahiruksipanti.
This shloka teaches us that taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet will vanquish our miseries. That's the first effect. Now let's go to the second shloka. This has one more effect. Yes, recite. धातर्यदस्मिन् भव ईश जीवाः
धातर्यदस्मिन् भव ईश जीवास्
तापत्रयेणाभिहिता न शर्म
तापत्रयेनाभिहिता न शर्म
आत्मन्लभन्ते भगवंस्तवाङ्घ्रीम्
आत्मन् लभन्ते भगवंस्तवाङ्घ्रि
छायां सविद्याम् अत आश्रयेम.
छायां सविद्यामत आश्रयेम.
One more. Aradhita, you want to recite? धातर्यदस्मिन् भव ईश जीवाः
धातर्यस्मिन् भव एष जीवा
तापत्रयेणाभिहिता न शर्म
तापत्रयेन अभिहिता न शर्म
आत्मन्लभन्ते भगवंस्तवाङ्घ्रीम्
आत्मन् लभन्ते भगवंस्तमाङ्घ्रि
छायां सविद्याम् अत आश्रयेम.
छायां सविद्यामत आश्रयेम.
Good. Dhatar. Dhata means, oh Lord, oh Creator, oh Master, oh Father. They're considering the Lord like this. Yadasmin bhava Isha jivaha. Isha again means controller. Isha refers to the Lord. Dhata also refers to the Lord, Krishna. Yadasmin bhava means in this material existence. Bhava means this material world. There are so many jivas. Dhatar yadasmin bhava Isha jivaha. What is their situation? What is the situation of all these jivas in this material existence? O Lord, O Master, O Controller, please listen. Tapatrayena abhihitana sharma. Tapatraya. I just mentioned what are tapatrayas. There are three types of miseries. We just discussed it in the previous shloka also. Same word is coming here. Tapatraya. There are three types of miseries. Abhihita. They are immersed in these three types of miseries. Na sharma. Sharma means happiness, right? Or some relief. Na sharma means they don't experience any happiness. So in this material world, there are three types of miseries because of which there is a lot of distress and there is no happiness. Clear? The situation of the conditioned souls is described in the first two shlokas. Dhatarya dasmin bhava isha jivaha tapatrayena abhihitana sharma. Second half of the shloka. Atman labhante bhagavam stavangri. Oh Bhagavan, here the Lord is described in multiple words. First is Dhata, means the father or protector or maintainer or creator. Isha means the controller, the Lord, the master. Bhagavan means the possessor of all opulences. In this way, the Lord is described in three words. Atman labhante bhagavan stavangri. Tava means your. Angri means feet. O Bhagavan, O Isha, O Supreme Lord, one who is experiencing so many material miseries in this world will have to find some relief. First thing, they're experiencing difficulties. Second thing, they are not getting any happiness. So what is the solution for it? Atman labhante. Labha means gain. Atman labhante means gain for the self, right? How can they get some gain for the self? Or how can they elevate themselves? How can they get some benefit in this world? So he is saying that Atman labhante bhagavan tavangri chayam savidyam ata ashrayema. Chaya means shelter. Chaya also means shadow, right? When it is very sunny outside, you are traveling, you go and stand under a tree. Then you get some shade, right? So chaya means shade. Under a tree, there is some shadow that will protect you from scorching sun rays. Earlier, the Lord's lotus feet will act as umbrella to protect you from the rain of miseries. Now, another comparison is given. Beautiful comparison. Chaya means shade. The Lord's lotus feet will offer you shade or shelter. And that shelter is like savidyam. Vidya means education, knowledge. So the Lord's shelter, the shelter of the Lord's lotus feet will offer you knowledge with which you can destroy your miseries. Chayam sa vidyam ata ashrayema. Ashraya means taking shelter of chaya, the shade of Krishna's lotus feet. Tavangri chaya. Now specifically this shloka refers to Krishna's lotus feet. You know why? There are different forms of the Lord. There are so many forms, Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Vamana, so many forms are there. But this shloka specifically refers to Krishna. Can anyone guess why? And if you want a hint, I can just say Chaya. Chaya is the keyword here. Yes, Tulsi?
Because Krishna's lotus feet is it's little upward, so it forms a shade like below it.
Correct. Because Krishna doesn't stand straight. He is always in a Tribhanga form. As you are seeing in this picture, here the 2 feet of Krishna are not on the ground. One foot is on the ground, second foot is just lifted. So now in the shelter, in the shade of this lotus foot, we have kept a lotus here. But if you remove the lotus, there is some shade there. So that shade of Krishna's divine foot will give you some shelter. Let me see if there is any other picture that has. Uh, uh, yeah, here you see. Here under the shade of Vrindavan Bihari's foot, there is, I think, Radharani's dress here. But anyways, basically this area is the shaded area. Because Krishna lifted his foot, so he created some shade here. If you are tormented by the scorching rays of material miseries, then you come under this shade. So this little area will protect you from everything. But here there is something very interesting. Chayam sa vidyam ata ashrayema. Vidya means knowledge. Actually, people suffer in this world because of their ignorance. To destroy that ignorance, we need knowledge. So, taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet means receiving his instructions, receiving his teachings in the form of Bhagavad Gita, receiving teachings about him in the form of Bhagavatam. That is Vidya. We need to be educated spiritually. We need to be educated. We need to acquire knowledge about Krishna. So that is the chaya, that knowledge, that vidya, that education about Krishna's nama, rupa, guna, lila, and the whole philosophy of Krishna consciousness will act as shade, shelter for us, or will give us that vidya. So the second effect of taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet is it bestows knowledge. What was the first effect? You remember what was the first effect? Sri Ram, you remember? What was the first effect of taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet?
He will throw away the material sukha and dukkha.
Okay. He added sukha also there along with dukkha. Correct. Yeah, you have broader understanding of philosophy. So basically, the shelter of Krishna's lotus feet will relieve us from miseries, material distress, and material happiness also, as Sri Ram said. Then second effect is the shelter of Krishna's lotus feet will bestow knowledge upon us. Let's go to the third effect. We'll take some extra time to discuss this third shloka because it's very deep and elaborate shloka. Yes, recite. Marganti yatte mukha padmanidaihi
Marganti yatte mukha padmanidais.
chandas suparnai rishayo vivikte
Chandas suparne srishaya vivikte.
yasyaghamarshoda saridvaraya
Yasyaghamarsodam saridvaragya.
padam padam tirthapadah prapannaha
Padam padam tirtha pada parampana.
Marganti yatte mukha padmanidaihi
Marganti yatte mukha padmanidai
छंदस्सु पर्णैर्षयो विविक्ते
छन्दस्सु पर्णैर्षयो विविक्ते
यस्याघमर्षोदसरिद्वराय
यस्यागमर्षोदसरिद्वरायः
पदं पदं तीर्थपदः प्रपन्नाः.
पदं पदं तीर्थपदः प्रपन्ना.
Let's discuss the meaning of this shloka. Very beautiful shloka. Marganti. Marga means way, path to some destination. Marganti means searching for the way. Basically pursuing, searching. Right? Marganti means searching. Yatte mukhapadmanidaihi. before I enter deep into this shloka, I need to give some example, create some scene. Just imagine there is a tree. The tree has some roots, the base, and the tree also has branches and flowers and fruits and leaves and twigs, which is crown. So on top there is a big crown kind of thing, that is the branches of the tree, and there are roots of the tree, the base of the tree. Right? Just imagine the tree and compare that tree with the Supreme Lord Krishna. Now, if you compare the tree with Krishna, the crown of the tree means the top portion of the tree becomes his lotus face. And the bottom portion of the tree, which is like roots, that becomes his lotus feet. Clear? Basically, we imagine the tree and compare the tree with Krishna, and the tree's roots are like Krishna's feet, and the tree's branches are the top portion of the tree are Krishna's lotus face. Clear? Now, there is a traveler, not the modern traveler who travels in Ola and Uber cabs or drives in car, but old traditional travelers who walk by foot. They travel from one place to another place on foot. So there is a traveler traveling in the forest. Now it's very hot there. The atmosphere is very hot, and the traveler desired to sit under the shade of some tree and take some rest before he continues his journey. So there is no tree around. The traveler has to search for a tree because it's like very huge forest, but that pathway, not forest actually, the pathway is not filled with so many trees. There is only one tree. Just imagine. To reach that tree, he needs some way. How can he reach that tree? So now he sees the bird. A bird is flying in the sky. And this bird flies, and where does the bird land generally? On top of a tree. So when a bird is flying in the sky, following the shadow of the bird, the traveler will find the root of the tree. Bird reaches the top portion of the tree. The traveler, following the shadow of the bird, reaches the bottom portion of the tree. Clear? Now, earlier we imagined the tree to be the Supreme Lord, and tree's roots to be the Lord's lotus feet, and tree's top portion to be Krishna's lotus face. So, this bird, you compare that bird with an advanced devotee. And you compare this traveler with a neophyte devotee or a sadhaka, practicing devotee. Now, this practicing devotee follows the shadow, follows the path shown by the bird, which is an advanced devotee. And that advanced devotee goes and sits on the goes and sits on the branch of the tree. Means advanced devotee will go and take shelter of Krishna's lotus face. And this follower devotee, sadhaka bhakta, he follows this shadow of the bird and goes to the bottom of the tree, which is like taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. Now, the analogy did not stop here. It continues. From Krishna's face, something emanates. What is that? The teachings of Bhagavad Gita. And from Krishna's lotus feet also, something else is emanating. That is Ganga river. So Krishna's lotus feet are the source of the river of Ganga, and Krishna's lotus face is the source of the river of Gita teachings. Means advanced devotees take shelter of Bhagavad Gita's teachings, and new devotees take shelter of Ganga river that is emanating from Krishna's lotus feet. And what is the effect of taking shelter of the water that came from Krishna's lotus feet, Ganga river? Our sins will be destroyed. And what is the effect of taking shelter of Bhagavad Gita emanating from Krishna's mouth? Our sinful tendencies will be destroyed. Sinful desires are destroyed. When we hear pure spiritual knowledge, the desire to commit sin will be vanquished. And when we take bath in a holy river, the sinful reactions are removed. But to completely remove the sinful desire itself, we need to take shelter of the teachings of the Lord, Krishna Katha, basically. That's what this shloka indicates to us. Marganti yatte mukha padmanidaihi chandasu parnai rishayo vivikti. These rishis means great sages are compared to birds. And the birds has wings, right? They are chanda. Chandaha suparnair means the birds have wings which are equal to Vedic sound vibrations. And they take shelter of Mukha Padma. Mukha Padma means lotus face. Pada Padma is lotus feet. Mukha Padma is lotus face. So great advanced devotees take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. That basically means Bhagavad Gita teachings. Next. Yasyaghamarshoda saridvarayaha padam padam tirtha padaha prapannaha. Padam padam, the lotus feet of the Lord, are like tirtha pada. Tirtha pada means the lotus feet that is source of tirtha. Tirtha means a holy river or a holy place. Prapannaha means taking shelter. So neophyte devotees take shelter of the uh, lotus feet of the Lord, which are the sources of tirtha, holy places. And what kind of tirtha specifically? Sarid, a river. Sarid Dvaraya means best of all rivers, which is Ganga river. So Krishna's lotus feet are the source of river Ganga. And what is the effect of taking shelter of Ganga river? Yasya Agamarshoda. Agha means sins. Agamarsha means destruction of sins. So in short, you take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, your sins will be destroyed. Taking shelter of lotus feet of Krishna also includes taking bath in Ganga river, which emanated from Krishna's lotus feet. That will destroy our sins. Clear? Then second is taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, that lotus face that emanates Bhagavad Gita teachings. So the third effect of taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet is given here, destroying sins. Shelter of Krishna's lotus feet destroys sins. Tell me, what is the first effect? First effect of taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. We discussed in the first sloka. Who remembers?
Release from miseries.
Second effect?
Bestows knowledge.
Third effect?
It
Agamarshoda, Agamarsha, destroys sins. Sins are destroyed. Total 3 effects. Now, fourth effect. Let's go to the fourth sloka. Recite. Yat shraddhaya shrutavatya cha bhaktya
यच्चार्दया श्रुतवत्या च भक्त्या
samrujyamane hridaye vadhaya
समृज्यमाने हृदये वदाय
ज्ञानेन वैराग्यबलेन धीरा
ज्ञानेन वैराग्यबलेन धीरा
व्रजेम तत्तेऽङ्घ्रिसरोजपीठम्
व्रजेम तत्ते निर्जरोसुरोजपीतम्
यत् श्रद्धया श्रुतवत्या च भक्त्या
यत् श्रद्धया श्रुतवतया च भक्त्या
संवृज्यमाने हृदये वधाय
समृज्यमाने हृदये वदाय
ज्ञानेन वैराग्यबलेन धीरा
ज्ञानेन वैराग्येन बलेन धीरा
व्रजेम तत्तेऽङ्घ्रिसरोजपीठम्
विजयं तत्ते दगे सरोजपीठम्.
सरोजपीठम्. Okay, great. One last recitation. यत् श्रद्धया श्रुतवत्या च भक्त्या
यत् श्रद्धया श्रुतवत्या च भक्त्या
संवृज्यमाने हृदये वधाय
समृज्यमाने हृदये वधाय
ज्ञानेन वैराग्यबलेन धीरा
ज्ञानेन वैराग्यबलेन धीरा
व्रजेम तत्तेऽङ्घ्रिसरोजपीठम्
व्रजेम तत्तेऽङ्घ्रिसरोजपीठम्.
यत् श्रद्धया, Shraddha means faith. Taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet must be done with faith in the potency of those feet. It's not a ritual. It's not a formality. It's done in a very heartfelt manner with full faith in Krishna Bhakti, in the potency of Krishna, in the intention of Krishna, in the integrity of Krishna. That even if a devotee undergoes some difficulties, that is not a product of Krishna's negligence. That is also a product of Krishna's mercy. Krishna sometimes protects a devotee by punishing the devotee for some small mistakes that the devotee has done. Therefore, even in misery, a devotee does not lose faith in Krishna's protection. Even in misery, a devotee does not lose trust in Krishna's intentions or integrity. So that is called faith, Shraddha. Yes, Shraddha. And how do we get that Shraddha, faith? Shrutavatya, by hearing about Krishna. By hearing about Krishna from bona fide sources, by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, by hearing Bhagavad Gita from authorized devotees, we get that Shraddha, faith. Yet Shraddhaya Shrutavatya cha Bhaktya, our hearing should be done with devotion, not with speculation or not with some skepticism. Oh, is he speaking properly or not? When we faithfully hear, when we dedicatedly hear, then we get the full benefit. Then, samrijyamane hridaye vadhaya, by faithfully hearing the descriptions of Krishna's Nama Rupa Guna Leela from devotees who are very advanced and dedicated, we develop great spiritual benefit. Samrijyamane means sammarjana. You understand sammarjana? Sammarjana means cleaning, right? Samrijyamane hridaye vadhaya. Hridaya means heart. Samrijyamane means heart is completely cleansed. The heart becomes completely clean by faithfully hearing about Krishna with devotion. Clear? Hridaye avadhaya. So avadhaya refers to meditation. So your hearing should be meditative hearing. It's not just ritualistic hearing where you hear from one ear and leave from another ear. Or you hear just for namesake and don't put it into application. Basically, our Shravanam should be followed by Nididhyasana or Smaranam, reflection. You just contemplate on those teachings, you meditate on those teachings. Don't just passively hear, but analyze within your own mind, introspect on them. Hridaya avadhaya, avadhi. This is meditation. You meditate on the teachings of the Lord. You ruminate on them, revise them, reflect on them, introspect on them. So that is meditative hearing, faithful and meditative hearing. Yat shraddhaya shrutavatya cha bhaktya samvrijyamane hridaye vadhaya. So when we meditate on the teachings of the Lord, our heart will be completely cleansed, purified. Clear? So this is the effect of hearing. Now, we are discussing the effects of taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, right? So now we discussed a little bit about effect of hearing because the shloka says that. But second half of the shloka describes what is the effect of taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. Jnanena vairagya balena dhira vrajema tattengri saroja pitham. When you faithfully hear about Krishna, it will clean your heart and it will inspire you to take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. Vrajema tatte angri saroja pitham. Angri means feet. Saroja means lotus, a flower. Pitham means a platform. So in the olden days, kings used to keep one small stool, which is like made of some gold or silver, bedecked with some gems. They keep some pitham, some little stool kind of thing, platform kind of thing under their feet. Krishna also keeps. So that footrest or that little stool under Krishna's feet is filled with Krishna's dust, right? So great devatas, including Brahma, Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Vayu, all of these great devatas come and put their crowns on that footrest of the Lord. Kirita kotyedita pada pitha. Kirita means crown. Kotyedita pada pitha. Koti means thousands and millions and crores of crowns come and fall at that footrest of Krishna. Kirita kotyedita pada pitha. So same thing is mentioned here. Vrajema tattengri saroja pitham. One who takes shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord or the footrest under the lotus feet of the Lord. Such people will be endowed with jnana, knowledge, vairagya, detachment, balena dhira. Bala means strength. Our real strength is not in our physical body. The real strength is in jnana and vairagya. We are strong when we are knowledgeable. We are strong when we are detached. Our strength is in our knowledge and detachment, jnana and vairagya, not in wealth, physical strength or something else or something else. Here, Jnanena Vairagya Balena Dhira. Is it clear? When you faithfully hear about Krishna with devotion, our heart will be cleansed. And we need to meditate on those teachings. By meditating on the teachings, by such faithful and meditative hearing, we will develop inclination to take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. And by taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, we will get jnana and vairagya, detachment and knowledge. Because knowledge we have already discussed in the second shloka, we already counted it as an effect. We'll take the vairagya part now. 4 inspires detachment. Shelter of Krishna's lotus feet will inspire detachment in us. We have discussed 4 effects of hearing, taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. Tell me, what are the 4 effects so far before I go to the 5th effect? First effect, Sriram, you remember?
First effect, they will Krishna will throw away the distress. Second effect, if we take shelter of his lotus feet, which is the holy river Ganga, then our sins will be removed.
Okay.
Then if we
Okay. Vanquishing miseries is one effect. Then vanquishing sinful reactions is another effect. 2 effects you said. Other 2?
Bestows knowledge and detachment.
Correct. Bestows knowledge and bestows detachment. 4 effects. Now let's go to the last shloka for today's discussion. In this, we'll see 2 more effects. Who will decide? Vaishnavi? Vishwasya janma sthiti samyamarthe.
विश्वस्य जन्मस्थितिसमयार्थे
Vishwasya janma sthiti samyamarthe.
विश्वस्य जन्मस्थितिसंयमार्थे
कृतावतारस्य पदाम्बुजं ते
कृतावतारस्य पदाम्बुजां
व्रजेम सर्वे शरणं यदीश
व्रजेम सर्वे शरणं यदीश
मृतं प्रयच्छत्यभयं स्वपुंसाम्.
श्रुतं प्रतच्छ अभयं स्वपूषां
पुंसाम्.
पुमां पुंसा
स्वस्य जन्मस्थिति संयमार्थे
विश्वस्य जन्मस्थिति संयमार्थे
कृतावतारस्य पदाम्बुजं ते
कृतावतारस्य पदम्बुजं ते
व्रजेम सर्वे शरणं यदीश
व्रजेम सर्वे शरणं यदीशा
मृतं प्रयच्छत्यभयं स्वपुंसाम्.
कृतं प्रयच्छत्यभम् अभयं स्वपुंसाम्.
Vishwasya janma sthiti samyamarthe. Vishwa means universe. Janma means birth. But in this context, Janma means creation of the universe. Sthiti means maintenance of the universe. Samyama means destruction of the universe. Right? Creation, maintenance, and destruction of the universe. Arthe means for the purpose of. For the purpose of creating this universe, for the purpose of maintaining this universe, for the purpose of destroying this universe, you know what the Lord does? Kritavatarasya. He appears in different avatars. What are those avatars of the Lord in which he does creation, maintenance, and destruction? Can anyone say? Instead of me saying. In which avatars the Lord is creating, maintaining, and destroying this universe? Yes.
Prabhuji, I think Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva.
Correct. Brahma creates the universe. Vishnu maintains the universe. And Shiva destroys the universe. And these 3 deities together are called Gunavataras. Brahma is Rajogunavatar. Vishnu is Sattvagunavatar. Then Shiva is Tamogunavatar. Not that they are in these 3 modes. Not that Vishnu is in Sattvaguna or Brahma is in Rajoguna and Shiva is in Tamoguna. That's not the point. They're in charges. They're caretakers. Through this mode, because to destroy something you need ignorance. So Krishna appears in these 3 Gunavataras. As Shiva, he destroys the universe using Tamoguna. As Brahma, he creates this universe using Rajoguna. As Vishnu, he maintains this universe using Sattvaguna. As simple as that. So, Vishwasya Janma Sthiti Samyamarthe Kritavatarasya. So, the Lord appears in so many avatars for creation, maintenance, and destruction. Basically, three avatars. Padambujamte, O Lord, your feet are like lotuses. Because you are so merciful to create, maintain, and destroy this universe again and again. Now, He's creating, He's maintaining. That's great. Why should He destroy? Actually, the Lord destroys the universe out of frustration. The purpose of creation of the universe is to give another opportunity to the conditioned soul to rectify his rebellious mentality and take shelter of Krishna and go back to Godhead. But by the end of a creation phase, many people, innumerable people, don't take shelter of Krishna. They don't utilize this opportunity given to them. And the Lord gets frustrated. Then He destroys the entire universe. Then again He becomes merciful. Okay, let me give another chance. He again creates the universe. Again gives bodies to living entities. Again gives them opportunities to take shelter of Krishna. So like that, bhutva praliyate. Repeatedly, this universe is created and destroyed through different avatars of the Lord, different forms of the Lord. But during the maintenance period, after creation and before destruction, during the maintenance period, if someone takes shelter of Padambujamte, the Lord's lotus feet, Brajema, Sarve Sharanam Didisa, all of us are taking shelter. Sharanam means shelter. Shelter of Krishna's Padambujam. If all of us take shelter of the lotus feet of Isha, Krishna, then you know what happens? Smritam prayachatya bhayam swapumsam. Swapumsam means the living entities. So if you take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, we will be bestowed two boons. Number one, smritam means remembrance. What remembrance here? This remembrance is remembrance of our relationship with Krishna. The conditioned souls in this material world are living in this material world because of their forgetfulness of their relationship with Krishna. But by taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, our remembrance of our original, eternal connection with Krishna will be revived. We'll be reminded, hey, you are not some CEO of a company. You are not an engineer. You are not a doctor. You are not a man. You are not a woman. You are not Indian. You are not American. You are a servant of Krishna. Right? When you take shelter of Krishna, we'll be awarded with that remembrance. So our original connection with Krishna will be revived by this remembrance. Then second is abhayam. Abhayam means fearlessness. So when you understand the glories of the Lord and take His shelter, naturally you become fearless. Although there is a cause of fear right in front of you, because you have confidence that a very capable person is there behind you to protect you, you will not be fearful. So, shelter of the Lord's lotus feet will award fearlessness to us, awards remembrance, awards courage, abhayam, or fearlessness. These are the fifth and sixth effects of taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. So, total we discussed 6 effects of taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet based on these 5 shlokas from the third canto of Bhagavatam, 5th chapter. These are the shlokas, these are the prayers offered by some devatas to Lord Mahavishnu. Now, can someone tell me all the 6 effects before we conclude? Yes, first effect, preferably in order. Yes, Chintamani Mataji, what's the first effect?
Hare Krishna Prabhupada. First effect is destroy miseries.
Destroy miseries. Okay, second also you can say.
And second is a simple reaction is finished. Simple reactions are finished.
Okay. Next. One more.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Bestows knowledge. Second. Third one is destroys sin. Fourth one is inspire detachment.
Let others say. Let others say. Sharana Prada.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, it inspires detachment.
Some more? Yes.
It reminds us of our original position.
Last.
And sixth one is it bestows fearlessness.
Fearlessness or courage. So vanquishes miseries, bestows knowledge, destroys sins, inspires detachment, awards remembrance of our original position as servants of Krishna, and gives courage. These are the 6 effects of taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. Thank you very much. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any questions or comments? Okay. We will conclude here. Sharan Prada Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I had a quick question. Why is Krishna's lotus feet, why are Krishna's feet always compared to lotus? Is there a reason?
It is a very beautiful object in this world. Actually speaking, it's not the best comparison, but there is no better comparison. Therefore, it's compared with lotuses. Because Krishna's feet are better than lotuses, 100 times or 1,000 times more beautiful than any beautiful lotus in this world. But still, it's considered, it's a conventional way of comparing something beautiful with a lotus. Therefore, we say lotus feet, lotus face, lotus everything. That's basically appreciating the beauty and glory. Thank you. So we'll meet next week. I hope this is okay. Nidhi Mataji.
Actually, we tell we should take the shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, but during the Radhashtami or Gaur Purnima, we sing the Vaishnava bhajans to take the lotus feet, shelter of the lotus feet of Radharani and Mahaprabhu, right? So, is it not diverting?
Now, we need to see the spirit behind these instructions. Radha and Krishna are one. Radha Krishna Eka Atma Dui Deha Dhari. So Radha and Krishna are one, but they manifested in 2 forms. Thus, taking shelter of Radharani's lotus feet or Krishna's lotus feet, both are ultimately one and the same. Just like Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. Many times Krishna said, at the end of Bhagavad Gita, what did Krishna say? Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. You take my shelter. Take my sharanam, Krishna said. But in the middle of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna said, Mahatmanastu mam partha daivi prakriti mashritaha. Daivi prakriti Srimati Radharani, ashrita means taking shelter. There he emphasized that Mahatmas are those people who take shelter of Radharani's lotus feet. So Krishna said shelter of Radharani, and Krishna also said shelter of Krishna. Ultimately, both are one. And that Radha and Krishna, both of them together manifested as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikriter Haladini Shakti Rasmad Ekatmanav. Both are same. Apibhu Vipura Deha Bheda Ogatautau. They became 2 as Radha and Krishna. Then again, Chaitanyakhyam Prakata Madhuna Tadvayam Chaikyamaptam. Again, they became one in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Right? Now we say, take shelter of Mahaprabhu's lotus feet, take shelter of Radharani's lotus feet, take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. We also say, take shelter of devotee's lotus feet. Ultimately, when you take shelter of a devotee, the devotee will only direct the people who took his or her shelter to Krishna, right? So thus, taking shelter of Vaishnava's lotus feet also is equally spiritually uplifting and beneficial because they direct everyone to Krishna's lotus feet. We need to see the spirit behind the statement. They are not contradictory statements. Prasad Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Prabhu, taking shelter of lotus feet of Lord Krishna means following the scriptures like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Or anything beyond this also, Prabhu? Following these
Bhakti Yoga, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Padasevanam, all this you can include.
Okay.
Thank you.
Basically, following these 2 scriptures and Shravanam, Kirtanam.
Basically, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, all these Navavidha bhaktis are based on the scripture. What does Bhagavatam teach us? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam. In the 7th canto of Bhagavatam, these 9 processes are given from the mouth of Prahlad Maharaj. So, or if you take shelter of Bhagavad Gita also emphasizes the same thing. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Basically, scriptures are teaching us how to perform bhakti yoga. Gita teaches bhakti, Bhagavatam teaches bhakti, and taking shelter of Krishna or Krishna's lotus feet is basically performing bhakti. Thank you. Kalpana Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, you displayed that points number. Prabhuji, can you display once again, Prabhuji? Let me write it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Rujana Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranam. Prabhuji, one question I have is remembering our relationship with Krishna. How long will it take, Prabhuji? Like, Prabhuji, correct గా అడగాలంటే అంటే మనం కృష్ణుడి షెల్టర్ తీసుకున్నాం త్రూ హోలీ నేమ్, శ్రీమద్ భాగవతం వింటూ ఉన్నాము, భగవద్గీత వింటూ ఉన్నాము, ట్రయింగ్ టు అప్లై లిటిల్ వే ఇన్ అవర్ లైఫ్స్. కానీ ఎలా ప్రభుజీ, హౌ విల్ వి నో అవర్ ఎటర్నల్ రిలేషన్ విత్ కృష్ణ? హౌ విల్ వి రిమెంబర్?
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Our relationship with Krishna is concerned, in this material world, most people forgot it. But the process of bhakti yoga, taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, reminds it to us. Okay. Now, in the sadhaka stage, we are reminded of our relationship with Krishna. What is our relation? We are servants. He is the master. Jivera swarupahai Krishnera nityadas. So our actual swarupa is we are eternally servants of Krishna. That's our relationship. Of course, in very advanced stages of devotion, people can relate with Krishna as mother, father, friend, lover, many other relations. But essentially, every living entity is a servant of Krishna. That is common in all relationships. Service to the Lord, seva, is common thing in all flavors of relationship, in all rasas at the advanced stage also, right? So initially, we are informed about our relationship with Krishna, that we are a servant, by studying scriptures nicely. But just knowing it is not sufficient. All of us know this. One who practices bhakti yoga, even in practice stage, even in neophyte stage, even without reaching perfection, everybody is aware of their relationship with Krishna. Everybody got that reminder and awareness. But just awareness is not sufficient. We need to imbibe that spirit. We need to absorb ourselves in that mood of being a servant of Krishna. And that has to be constant emotion, not intermittent emotion. When I'm hearing Bhagavatam class, I remember myself, I remind to myself, I'm servant of Krishna. Or somebody reminds me that I'm servant of Krishna. Yes, I'm servant of Krishna. But after a Bhagavatam class, we may forget it. In our day-to-day interactions, we may forget it. So that mood doesn't come. So advanced devotee is one who is constantly in that consciousness of being a servant of Krishna. But a neophyte person is one, neophyte devotee is one who is aware that he is a servant of Krishna, but unable to maintain that mood constantly. On a festival day, Janmashtami day, Radhashtami day, you go in front of the deities, offer a prayer, then you have that fine sentiment and sincere devotional feeling for a few moments, that prayerful attitude. But after 5 minutes or 10 minutes, or when the festival is over, you are back to normal. We are unable to maintain that mood constantly, the devotional mood constantly, that service attitude constantly. So knowing is at one level, realizing it, internalizing it, absorbing it, acting on that platform constantly is on a higher level. So sadhakas are those people who are aware of the relationship with Krishna. They have awareness, but they may forget after some time. Again, they are reminded. Therefore, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, every day we have to hear, every day we need to remind ourselves that we are servants of Krishna. Eventually, at one day, we will be able to act on that platform constantly, be in that emotion of being a servant of Krishna. So that will take some time. We are work in progress. Hare Krishna. Last question. Swapna Mataji. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, you mentioned that the process of bhakti, there are 9 processes of bhaktis. Can we just have them in the list, Prabhuji?
Oh. Shravanam, hearing about the Lord. Kirtanam means glorifying Krishna or chanting his names. Shravanam, Kirtanam. Third is Smaranam, remembering the Lord. Padasevanam, worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, worshipping. Archanam, Vandanam, offering prayers. Dasyam, being a servant. Sakhyam, being very friendly with the Lord. Atmanivedanam, completely dedicating oneself to the Lord. These are the 9 processes. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam. Okay, Mataji. Thank you very much. We will meet next week. Not next week, Sunday. Sunday, 7 o'clock, we'll meet again, day after tomorrow.